food that's in your pantry or kicking around the fridge. Up next, I've got roast cauliflower with macadamia nuts, some green olives and sultanas. Right, let's just get straight into it. So I've got a beautiful cauliflower. Now I'm going to cut a cauliflower steak. Okay, vegetables are very underrated. This dish I've added some anchovies at the end, but if you don't want to, just leave those out. Could even be vegan if you cook it in olive oil. I'm going to use a little bit of butter as well, but it's up to you. This is all about getting a beautiful caramelization on a nice big cauliflower steak. So I'm not cutting it into florets or small little pieces. One nice big steak. And I'm leaving the root on, I'm leaving the stem on and everything. Nice warm hot pan. Good drizzle of olive oil. Straight in, my cut side down. Okay, that's about 250 grams of cauliflower. Sizzling straight away. Now, if you didn't want to do this just for 1 or 2 in the fry pan, then you could have a big roasting tray and have 3 or 4 cauliflower steaks lined up. Right, I'm going to get good crust on that. Good caramelization, really good colour, because roasted cauliflower is actually one of my favourite things to eat. Good crust, little bit of salt, little bit of pepper. Now I'm going to put that in a hot oven at about 180, 200 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes, and I'm going to turn it about halfway through. Now that's had about 4 or 5 minutes each side. I've turned it. And I've got a beautiful crust on both sides of the cauliflower. And now the great thing about this dish is it's a one pan wonder. But be careful now, because this pan's been in the oven and it's scorching hot. So I'm going to lift this onto my plate now, right? And then I'm going to make my dressing or my vinaigrette in the pan that I roasted the cauliflower in, okay? Now this can be either the main event for dinner, vegetarians or people with dietaries, maybe they don't eat beef, fish or something like that, or it's a perfect side dish, okay? Now I'm going to get my vinaigrette started in the pan. So good glug of olive oil, maybe about 30 or 40 mils. Nice handful of butter. We're basically making a dressing, a warm vinaigrette in the pan. Now I've got some beautiful macadamia nuts that I'm just going to toast in that butter and olive oil mix. Nice gentle pan. Be careful that you turn your pan down now, because you don't want to burn your butter. You want brown butter, you want to burn noisette, but you don't want it black, okay? So I've got my macadamia nuts in there. A few pine nuts. Now if you had almonds in the fridge, or if you had a hazelnut or something else, okay, they're sizzling away nicely. I'm going to chop a few green olives. Now you could use black olives, you could use them whole, pitted, stuffed. It doesn't really matter too much what you've got in the fridge, okay? I'm just going to turn that up a touch more, because it's just starting to go a little bit flat. I can't hear the butter sizzling, and that's what you want. You want the sizzling butter. It takes about 30, 40, 50 seconds to make this dressing. Right, the olives go in. A few capers I've got here as well too. Now if you don't like these capers, or if there's anything in here that you don't really like too much, just leave it out. I'm just showing you a base warm dressing and vinaigrette, okay? Now I hear that sizzling now that the capers have gone in as well too. Stirring. There's like a couple of little chunks of cauliflower in there as well that'll be perfect. Now I'm going to chop a couple of anchovies. 4 or 5, I love anchovies. Try to use the best ones that you can afford. There's some great Spanish ones or Italian ones around in the pan. Finish it with some chopped herbs. I've got some parsley and some chives. Just a really rough chop. You don't have to do it super fine. This is a really rustic dish. Now, if you didn't have any cauliflower in the fridge, this dish works great with broccoli, broccolini. Even roasted cabbage would be beautiful as well too. So just use this as a roadmap, as a guide to what you should really do. Chives in, good pinch of salt, little bit of pepper, little bit of lemon zest. that fragrance of the citrus coming through. Now, you chop that in half, good stir. Maybe a little bit more butter and olive oil because it's just getting a little bit dry. It's all getting soaked up from the pine nuts and from the macadamia nuts. Yeah, this wants to be my dressing, okay, my sauce. And to finish, a good squeeze of lemon juice. And my dressing's ready to go on your cauliflower steak. Now that's ready to dress. Smelling fantastic. Look at that, straight over my cauliflower steak. Now that's my 10-minute recipe of roasted cauliflower steak, yeah, with macadamia nuts, green olive sultanas, or whatever the hell you've got in your pantry that you think's gonna make a beautiful dressing. Beautiful, and not just for the veggies.
Hey everyone, welcome back to 10-Minute Kitchen. I'm going to be showing you how to make my Asian salad using some dumplings that I have here from Golden Wok. It's a tandoori chicken flavored ones, and I'm going to pair it with a refreshing beverage by SodaStream. All right, let's get started. So there's a few ways to cook these dumplings. You can pan fry them, you can steam them, you can fry them, you can even just boil them or blanch them. So I like mine pan fried. So I've added in about a tablespoon of oil into the pan. You don't need much. I'm using a non-stick pan, so just a little bit will do. And then just gonna lay them out. These are frozen. Let that cook for a couple of minutes on each side. So I'm just gonna let that do its thing. In the meantime, I'm going to make a quick dressing. So in a bowl, I'm gonna add in a couple of tablespoons of soy sauce, a couple of tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. You can substitute for white wine vinegar or just normal vinegar, that's fine, or even lemon juice, just for that little bit of acidity. I've got some mirin here. Mirin is a Japanese vinegar, but it's a sweet vinegar, so that's the sweetness that will come. So when you're cooking with Asian food, just remember it's always that balance of sweet, sour, salty, and that's what we have, and we're going to replicate in this dressing. So I've got some Kewpie mayonnaise for that creaminess, so maybe about a couple of tablespoons or so, like that. Give that a good stir. You have a beautiful creamy dressing, and then I'm going to add in some sesame oil. And I always say with sesame oil, use a little bit because a little goes a long way. So in goes some sesame seeds, pop that in, and then stir that. Next, I'm going to add in a little bit of ginger for some zing. Now I'm just going to grate that into my dressing. Okay, that's looking good. Just gonna give it a stir and a quick taste. That's perfect. Lots of zinginess from the ginger and beautiful sourness from that vinegar as well. All right, now dumplings have been cooking for 2 minutes on one side, and I'm just gonna flip them over onto the other side, and this is a really personal thing. I like to cook mine on both sides, so you get that sort of like that crustiness and that crispiness on both sides rather than just the one. But it's entirely up to you. So I'm gonna add in about a tablespoon and a half of water. Now this is gonna splatter, so just be careful, so not too much water. There we go. And then I'm gonna pop the lid on, and this is gonna steam for 5 minutes. Beautiful. Now, whilst that's steaming, I'm gonna move on and prepare my salad. So, red onion to begin with. Just gonna use half of one. So just thinly slice it. I don't really have any tips for peeling an onion, and sometimes onions make me cry, sometimes they don't. I don't know, maybe it's the onion itself, it's temperamental, but I think if you wear goggles, that you're pretty safe. But I think it's actually in the vapor. So when you smell it, that's when it makes you tear. But you know what? A little bit of crying doesn't hurt. Put on some movie like Notebook or something. All right, next one, carrot. Now, if you don't have one of these, so I'm gonna julienne this. Now with carrots, I never, 90% of the time, never peel the skin off unless I'm, preparing a really fine dining dish. But 90% of the time, I don't peel them. Invest in one of these. These are serrated peelers, which you can get from any Asian shop. Or in fact, I think you can get them in the supermarket, but they make your life so much easier. Like ribbons like that. And voila. Saves you from cutting them and just saves you so much time. So definitely one of these, and a mandolin, which is the other little kitchen hack. Okay, that'll do. Just a little bit of color, really. Now just add that into the bowl. In goes some bean sprouts. I like bean sprouts because it's really fresh and light. Now you can mix it up. The salad's all about what you want to add in. You can add in some vermicelli noodles if you like. You can add in lots of fresh Asian herbs like Vietnamese mint, Thai basil. Really have a play. I tend to just look into my fridge and see what I have. If I have a cucumber, I'll chuck it in, capsicum, I'll chuck it in. Just anything with, lots of freshness, brightness, any vegetables that you can eat raw, really. So chilies go in. Now I like a lot of heat. I'm very used to eating spicy foods, but if you have kids and you don't want, too much heat, so I'm just gonna show you a quick hack on how to remove the seeds. I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but just a simple one, just right down the middle. Some chilies have more seeds than others, just really depends, but just with your spoon, just remove it right down the middle like that, and you take the seeds. So to this I'm going to add in some red cabbage. I've chosen red cabbage and white cabbage just because I just want extra texture and color. So just thinly slice that. No easier way than to just use your knife and just slice that. You can use a mandolin if you want. And I'm gonna do the same with my white cabbage, and then I'm gonna add in some spring onions, mint and coriander. And as I said, you can use any herbs that you want, just to add that sort of bit of freshness to the salad. Now I'm just going to dress the salad now with that beautiful dressing that I made earlier. So all in. I'm all about just getting in there with your hands. Beautiful, vibrant colors, lots of reds, oranges, purple and greens. Now, just a big handful onto your bowl, just in the middle, like that. I'm just going to garnish with some sesame seeds as well. So that looks looking great. Now, one last thing to do, I'm going to add my dumplings onto the salad. I think 5 should be enough. You can come back for seconds if you want. So just some coriander on the top, just to make it look pretty and refreshing. Now that's all done. Just one thing left to do. I'm gonna prepare myself a sparkling kombucha drink using my SodaStream. Now I love to serve my meals with a refreshing beverage, so I've got a kombucha concentrate here by SodaStream, and I'm going to prepare myself some sparkling kombucha, pairing it with a few citrusy notes. So now it's time to fizz my water using this SodaStream machine. So pop that on, and then about a couple of seconds would be good. Perfect, nice and fizzy. Next, I'm gonna add in this kombucha concentrate, so about 30 mils per glass should be good. I love kombucha. It's just one of those, it's just a really good summery drink. It's also very good for your gut. Now they come in lots of different flavors, so you have, lots of different ones. I've got some lemon lime bitters here as well, so you can mix it up and change it up as you want. So I'm gonna add in some citrusy notes into this drink to pair it with my kombucha sparkling water. I've got some mandarin and some passion fruit, which will pair nicely with the salad, and possibly even some mint, just to reinforce the herbs that I have in the salad as well. So pop the mint in. Mint's always nice and refreshing and summery. And a few slices of mandarin. Just the pulp of a couple of passion fruits. And just add that into jug. Now vibrant colors, you know, doesn't get more summery than this really. Yellow, orange and green, just beautiful pops of color. Into this I'm going to add in my sparkling water. And then give that a good stir. Add that into the glass. Look at that. So fizzy, so fresh, so summery. It looks just delicious. And there you have it, guys. My quick and easy Asian salad with my golden wok tandoori chicken dumplings paired with a refreshing sparkling kombucha. Cheers.
Today, it's all about muffins. So this recipe, so easy. It's one of my daughter's favorite recipes, blueberries and white chocolate. Really simple, okay? 110 grams of butter. You can just use an unsalted butter. 110 grams of caster sugar straight in. And then we're just gonna beat it now to a nice creamy paste. So, you know when it volumates and goes that like white and almost like soft and creamy and light texture? That's what we're looking for with this, okay? So we start off slow and then we spark it up nice and high. So while that's beating, you can get ready 2 eggs. I'm just gonna crack them into the bowl, just so then it's really nice and easy for you. You don't have to worry about getting any shell in it. There's no disaster. So now we're just gonna pop in the eggs. Try and just do 1 egg at a time. Let that work through. Once it starts to combine, just drop in the other egg. So it almost looks like it's gonna split. Don't worry about it, guys, okay? Absolutely fine, natural. The flour will rebind it and it will all come back together, okay? So here I've got 110 grams of plain flour and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So the baking powder is what's gonna give it that nice lift, that nice rise in the oven. So now we're gonna add this plain flour and baking powder. So just gently drop it in. And then you'll see it coming together really nicely. And then again, just let that work, let it come together. Probably needs about another 30 seconds, and it's done, guys. The most important thing with this recipe is, I know when we make muffins, you wanna have it, you wanna cook it, you wanna eat it, but it needs a little bit of time to rest. So you wanna pop the mixture in your fridge for about an hour at least. Ideally, 6 hours or overnight is better, but look, after an hour, they're still beautiful to eat. So give it at least an hour to rest in your fridge, and then you can whack it in your oven later. So that's the texture you're looking for, guys. That beautiful, light, creamy. This is about the point when my daughter starts going, "Daddy, Daddy, can I eat it now, please?" So now you just want to give it a really quick, just a fold, just to bring any of the bits on the edges into the middle. And then you're just gonna pop it into a bowl so it can easily fit in your fridge and rest for about an hour. Okay, now we've had our muffins resting for about an hour in the fridge. We're just gonna literally, you wanna preheat your oven to 180 degrees, okay? So it's nice and hot and ready to bake. And we're just lining these trays with some muffin molds. Should get about 6 to 8 out of this recipe. Okay, then you just wanna evenly divide the mix between the molds. Don't fill them too much, okay? You can always go back and add a little bit more, but obviously it's gonna rise in the oven. It's gonna grow, and you don't want it to spill over. this muffin recipe. This is blueberry and white chocolate, but guys, this is all I'm doing. I'm adding it in right now. So whatever flavor you want, you can make it strawberries, you could do raspberries, you could do milk chocolate. You can mix up this recipe. It's so versatile. I'm just going for about 5 blueberries per cake, and then chocolate, just sprinkle on top. And then that will just like crispen up and cook into it, but get that little almost burnt caramelized white chocolate flavor on top, which for me is one of my favorite ways to eat white chocolate. That's it, guys, nice and easy. We're gonna pop it in the oven now, 180 for 20 to 25 minutes. When it's ready, just poke a little cocktail stick or skewer in there. If it comes away clean, you're good to go. So here you go, my blueberry and white chocolate muffins. Look, I could get fancy and have them on a platter if you've got friends coming over. They never last that long in my house. But if you want to make them for kids' lunches, keep them in Tupperware. They'll last for 2 to 3 days, really fresh, really tasty, and you can use them up that way. Whichever way you choose to eat them, I hope you enjoy.